It's a beautiful morning here in the mountains of southern Appalachia, and finally we're going to plant our tomatoes and our peppers today. We've had so much rain that we've not been able to actually get that done, and we've got tomatoes this tall. We've got peppers growing in the greenhouse, so they really need to be put out here where they can really thrive, and hopefully Matt can have a tomato sandwich before long.
Be nice.
And he's going to oversee. I'm teasing him, but last year me and Corey messed up the tomatoes. I don't know if we messed them up when we were actually planting them or when we were out here that we got them mixed up. Anyway, he's going to be here to make sure his Cherokee purple all get put in the right place, and he's happy about that.
I just hope the seeds was right when they went in there.
Well, now you helped me with the seeds, so.
Well, yeah, but you handed me the seeds, so I still don't for sure know.
I hope that we'll be in, like we usually are, have an abundance of Cherokee purple. That was not true last year. Matt's Cherokee purple, what he thought was his Cherokee purple bed, actually had a lot of Tommy toes in it.
I had Tommy toe sandwiches last year.
So Matt's double checked me. These are all the Cherokee purple. He's went ahead and dug a hole, just showing how he wants to space them out, and then he'll dig it deeper for us to actually plant them. So planting tomatoes is like everything else. Everybody has their own way to do it, but this is just how me and Matt have been doing it for, I guess, gosh, almost 20 years now.
Yep.
So this is just how we do it. Someone way back told us to put Epsom salt in the bottom of the hole when we plant them, and we did, and they did good, and so we just keep doing it. Now, is it just a coincidence? I don't know, but that's what we do. We put Epsom salt, just a handful, in the bottom. We try to plant the tomatoes pretty deep. You can see Matt's dug the hole, and we break off the little limbs there that would be underground, and then he'll mound it up around them, so we plant them pretty deep. Most of the time our tomatoes are not this tall when we're planting them, but this year that's just how it goes. And one of the reasons you can plant them really, really deep is, I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but you can see all these little, I can't tell where I'm at.
Little hairs.
All those little hairs, those will just turn into roots, and those will root out into the soil once they're covered and help make for a stronger, healthier plant. So now that we've got the first one planted, we just gotta push through and plant the rest of them. We don't have many strawberries this year, but Matt and I have been snacking on them while we've been out here planting the tomatoes, and they are really tasty. All the little onions I planted are up, standing at attention. They always remind me of little soldiers all standing in line there. They're looking really good. Some of them even probably are big enough to start eating. And you can see the radishes there, that long line of radishes that we planted in the hopes of helping the cucumbers, the squash bugs, stay away from them. And they're doing good, but the cucumbers, you can see these right here are the silver slicers. They're great. They're about to start running. They look really great. But over on this side, if you notice, the only thing that's come up there is the nasturtium. This was the Boston cucumbers that I planted, and I don't know why. I think that might be one about to come up right there, but not one. If it is, that's the first cucumber. None of the others have come up. So I'm going to replant those today. It's kind of the same story on the other side. You can see the radishes. You can see the onions back there coming up good. And these cucumbers right here were the Sumter cucumbers, and then also the white one that our friend Solly, Miss Cindy's friend, gave us. Just two there on the end, but they're up. But down on this end, nothing. This is the Arkansas Little Leaf. I plant those every year. I have no clue why not one seed come up. Makes me wonder if something got it and ate it. But then if they did eat it, why didn't they eat the others? So it was probably just my seed was no good. I'm also going to replant those today. We're going to put the Tommy toes in this little bed right here where the cattle panels are. We put those cattle panels up last year. It just makes growing tomatoes so much easier. Me and Matt really love the ease of using cattle panels. We wanted to retrofit this bed like we had the others with the metal and the wood, but Granny being in the hospital, that didn't happen, and now it's too late in the year to happen. We're just going to have to plant the tomatoes. Matt did go, he's going to get the tractor. He's going to bring a load of compost to put on it before we plant them. And I think while he's doing that, I'm going to run get my cucumbers and just plant those 2 little short rows over there that didn't come up. Matt's back with the compost. He's going to put it out. I went in to get me some cucumbers and I thought, well, I probably should plant something different. But I ended up, I got the same exact things because those are my favorite cucumbers. I really love them, the Arkansas Little Leaf and the Boston, but I got newer seeds. I had some, maybe that packet I used was just too old of each of them. I think I don't know, I'll have to go back and watch the video. Maybe I used all the seeds that was in the packet. But I am going to just plant the exact same thing and hope that these come up. Matt's got it all fixed up. He's ready for us to start planting. There's no telling what we said in our video we were going to put here. We are going to put the tomatoes, but I think we had it all narrowed down. We counted out how many was going to go where. We may be doing something different than that, but we could go back and watch the video, but we're not going to do that because here we are and we're just going to have to do what we're going to do today. But we're going to put some Juliet here. Love that little tomato. It's like an oblong shaped one. Really prolific and perfect for drying. And tasty too, though, if you just want to eat them. The black cherry, that's Matt's favorite. Put it here. It is super prolific. And that's, again, a little tomato, what we would call a little tomato, a grape tomato. Some people call them salad tomatoes. And it has that same dusky hue that Cherokee Purple does. And has really, really great flavor too. My favorite, David and Carolyn Anderson's what I call it, the one they shared with me a few years back. I'm going to put 2 of them here, and then we're going to put, what was the other one, Matt? Oh, the sun gold. I found my sun gold. Last year I couldn't find my seeds, so I didn't have no sun golds. We're going to put them. And then I have an extra one, a bumblebee, but we still have the raised beds on the bank, and I think I'll put it up there. It was really prolific last year too, and I really liked it. And it's one that had different colors somehow, but still a really sweet little tomato. Before we move down to plant the rest of the tomatoes, Matt's going to go ahead. He said, while we're up here, let's go ahead and do everything up here. So he's doing the peppers. My peppers that I started this year just were a flop. I don't know what happened. I'm suspicious that I got them too hot, and then I think maybe that I might have burned them up with what I was fertilizing them with. I don't know, or it was just a bad year for my peppers. They did wonderful last year and the year before. Anyway, I bought these at Wayne's in Murphy. These are gypsy peppers, and I had totally forgot about them. Me and Matt grew them many years ago. We try to grow them every year. I would just buy them. I didn't start pepper seed then. But a dear lady, Beverly Neighbors, brought me some. She read The Blind Pig and the Acorn for a long time, and we just loved them. They were so prolific. They're sweet pepper. And you can see the plants have already got peppers on them, even just being in the greenhouse. And the pepper gets larger than this, but it is kind of an oblong-shaped pepper, but they're really good. Gypsy pepper is the name of them. The rest of these peppers we're going to put, well, some of them we're going to put in the other round metal bed that Matt got me for Christmas. Those over there are 2 yellow ones, bell peppers, just bell peppers, and an orange one that I just got, I think, at Walmart. These 2 I bought from the Satterfields, and this little one, those that are real tiny, that's jalapenos. So we may save those and put them back in the greenhouse and let them grow a little bit more, and then put them on the bank when we get those beds ready. This one, unfortunately, I can't remember what it is. I don't know. And it doesn't have I didn't keep the little thing, or it didn't have one. I guess I could go back to my Satterfields video and see if I can remember, see if I can tell in it if I mention them. I don't think I would have bought another hot pepper, so I think that it is a sweet pepper. But what kind of sweet pepper, I'm just not sure. I guess we'll know when we plant them and we start producing peppers. We're on the last tomatoes of the day. We've got the peppers done. We'll get this done, and then there's one more thing we want to do, which is to plant the okra, and then we'll be done with our chores for today. I know Matt will be glad. I'll be glad too. It's got rather hot outside. So down here, what we're going to plant is this is the black creme that I got at Satterfields. A lot of people have told me they're really good, so I can't wait to try them. We've got 2 of I'm calling them the Randy Hooper, because they come from Debbie at Rice and Farm Supply. That was her husband. And then 2 hillbillies. Got those. Over here we've got, somehow I just ended up with 1 German Johnson. I guess that's all I planted. No, there's 2. Here's 2. I was thinking I planted 2. 2 German Johnson, and then 2 Brandywines. And also we had just a couple left over from up at the top. We're going to, of course, share with Granny and with Corey, so we've got some set aside with them, for them. But we have 1 more Cherokee, and then 1 more David and Carolyn Anderson, the little Tommy Toe that we'll put down here. We're ready to do the okra now. I was really sad that it's my own fault, but somehow I didn't have any Jing orange. That's our favorite one to grow. Actually, I don't think it's that I don't have it. I just cannot find it, because I know I've saved seed from what we grew, and 1 okra pod will have, a tremendous amount of seed in it, so I just can't figure out where it's at. Anyway, because of that, I'm going to plant, these are the 3 that we're going to plant this year. 1 is Alabama Red. I've heard good things about that, but I've never planted it. I'm hoping that we'll like it, since we love the Jing Orange, which is a red okra. And then okra Bear Creek, I was going to read that one to you. It says, sent to us from Robbins Hale of Missouri as a trade through Seed Savers Exchange. From Robbins, this okra is some we have been growing and selecting for the past 15 years. It is a cross of Louisiana green, burgundy, a kind from Africa that I have forgotten the name of, and a white okra. I aim for a very long, thin fruit with no real ridges. We were excited to trial this one, and we're not disappointed. We don't think you will be either. So that'll be nice to try that one. Now the other one I have tried before, and it is Granddaddies. And it's actually from Rex Eubanks of Whitney, Texas, whose family has stewarded the variety for over 4 generations. And I've grew it before. We've grew it several times. And it, again, it's like the Bear Creek one. It is like a smooth okra. There's not many ridges on it, and it gets really long and slender, and it's really tasty too. It's just that Jing Orange is my favorite, but hopefully the Alabama Red will be just as good. Matt's made me a row over there, so we're ready to plant. I did let the seeds soak. I like to do it overnight, but of course I forgot to do it last night. But I did let it soak in water since we first got up this morning. So since, I don't know, about 7 o'clock or something like that. I got up at about 6:30, but it's probably 7 before I actually put it in the water. So I hope that that'll be good enough. And I think it will be, because for many, many years we didn't soak the seed at all. We just planted it in the ground, and it did okay for us. It has got rather warm.
Yeah.
Feels good to have that done, though.
It was too warm to suit me a month ago.
Yeah. I'm so glad, though. Don't you feel better to get them in there?
Yeah, I'm glad that's in the ground.
1 step closer to Matt's tomato sandwich.
Mm-hmm. We're living on the move.
Mm-hmm.
Provided that's the correct seed.
It was. I've let Matt run out of grape popsicles, so he's got a watermelon today. Is it all right?
It's all right. It ain't good as the others, but it'll do. I can eat anything.
Matt is pretty much like Mikey. If you remember those commercials, Mikey will eat it. He'll eat anything.
Sit here and lick on a pine limb if you want me to. I don't care.
Seems really strange. Me and Matt both think that we didn't plant any Arkansas Traveler or the Mountain Princess that we've always grown for probably 10 years or something. And they used to do so well for us. They have like a medium-sized red tomato, both of them. But Matt's told me that we shouldn't plant them, because he's right. For the past probably 3 years, each year they've been falling off and not doing as good. I don't know if something's changed with our little climate here, our soil, or the seed, or
I think it's the ground, because we always plant them in the same place.
Maybe, yeah.
We could probably plant them somewhere else again, like in one of the newer beds or something next year, and they'd probably do fine.
Probably do better. It is, though, it's strange not to plant those, but it is really exciting to plant those different varieties. the brandywine. We used to try to grow brandywines, and they were tasty, but they just wasn't very prolific. And the same with the German Johnson. I can't ever talk about German Johnson without thinking about Kenneth Roper. That was his favorite, his favorite one. And then the one from Debbie, that one can be nice to see if we like it. It's really interesting looking at the leaves on them, how their leaves are so different, which I knew that because we've grown them before, but so drastically different than the
rest of them.
Cherokee Purple and the Tommy Toes that we grow. The leaves are so different looking. What was it you said? They looked almost like a...
Looked like leaves on a birch tree.
Yeah, on a birch tree or something. So I hope those all do good, and it'll be interesting to see them. I'm really excited about the Sun Gold, because last year I had the seed. I just, on the day me and Corey was planting them, I somehow tucked it under something and couldn't find it. I found it later on, but it was too late for tomatoes then. So I'm excited about that one. And we did save some out to share with Granny and with Corey. Corey can't really take care of much this year, but she could put one or two just right in front of her house there and maybe grow at least enough tomatoes just to eat. Have one or two. And of course she can share in any of ours. A lot of people may think, or may ask, because they've asked before, like, you know, that's so much food, those tomatoes, you're growing so many. Well, we eat a lot of them. Matt will eat tomatoes every day of the summer once they start coming in. And we all eat them. We like them. We share with Granny and Corey and anybody else that, you know, friends and family that needs tomatoes. But we also just put those tomatoes up. Like, if you're somebody that cans tomatoes, it's really nice to have, I don't know, like Roma tomatoes or something. Like, I think of going to a farm, like one of the big farms here, and buying like a big box of them, and they're all pretty much uniform. They're all, you know, there's not many blemishes or anything like that on them, and they're just really easy to can. But we can what we grow. So it may be a great old big Cherokee Purple that's got the, I think some people call those cat faces, but it's got the pits and the dips in them. And they are harder to can because you got to cut all that out or get around it, you know. But that's just, we just do. That's just what we do. We can the ones that we grow. Those are the ones we like to eat. And we like the ones we can, but we mostly look at those just as kind of a sideline to getting to eat those fresh ones.
Right.
So we will can those. I throw even the, like if it's a day that I'm canning tomatoes and I've got a bunch of Tommy Toes, I even throw those in there, even though they're, you know, by the time you get the skin off of them, you just got a teeny tiny bite of tomato. But I just throw those in too. So it is more difficult compared to if you have those nice big tomatoes or like the Roma size. But that's just how we've always done it, and works good for us.
They're mighty tasty too.
Mr. Granddaddy friend. Well, he's trying to get on you now. Come on now. If we had cows, we could ask him where our cows was, and he would point.
Is that how that goes?
Yeah. It's an old saying that if you go to call the cows in at the end of the day, if you ask the granddaddy, he'll point and tell you where they're at. I remember when I first read that somewhere in one of my Appalachian books or whatever, I asked Pap if he remembered that, because he definitely had cows growing up, and he said, he laughed. You can just hear him, can't you chuckle? And said, no, Tip, I must have missed that one. I never had a granddaddy help me get the cows.
Yeah, he'd have thought that's funny.
It's interesting, any kind of gardening stuff is. The different varieties of way to do it. Like I was saying, that's how we plant tomatoes. Lots of people do it differently, and that's great and fine too, and everybody just has to find what works best for them. But I always think about when we plant tomatoes is that Papa Tony said when he was a boy, they didn't stake tomatoes. They just let them grow where they
Just let them run
where they go.
Looks like it wouldn't be too much fun trying to pick tomatoes right down on the ground. But
Well, I don't know. I'm sure if they'd done it year after year, they must have been okay.
But they probably had a whole lot bigger field full of them than we do. And it was about as easy to do that than it was to spend days of staking
them, yeah.
would be my guess.
Before we started using the cattle panels for the tomatoes, we did kind of a combination. We used the tomato baskets, like we still have some of them over here. We usually put those in Granny's garden. And then sometimes we would just, some people call it the Florida weave, like you just have twine on each side of them and kind of enclose them in that twine, and it helps them stand up. Daddy did that most of the time.
Yeah,
That's
did
what
that
he
a
did.
lot.
One year, Kenneth Roper, talking about him, he made these, what was it? Kind of like a, what would you call that, piece of rebar?
Yeah, it's just like a rebar stake that you could drive in the ground, and then he made this little this little aluminum piece. He had his own machine shop, so he could make any of this stuff. A little aluminum block with a rod about that long stuck off the side of it, and then the other side had a threaded set screw. So you could slip that over the rebar and tighten it down wherever you wanted to, and then tie your tomato off to the little bar that stuck out. And as it grew, you could loosen it and raise it up. And he made us a bunch of those, and we've still got them.
We used them.
We used them for quite a while. I've not used them lately. Once we componed this
cattle panels.
cow panel idea, I kind of like that.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of different ways, though, to go about it and to do it. I've had a few people ask about growing tomatoes in grow bags. We've done that pretty successfully. Last year, remember, we had some at that end. I would just, I think the bigger grow bags work better just because you don't have to worry about watering them as often. Now, that depends, too, all on where you live, what your climate's like. We don't have trouble with ours drying out, but then we get ample rain, and then we're on the north side of the mountain, so we don't, in most parts of our yard, don't have like baking sun all day long. But a bigger one would allow you, no matter where you live, would hold moisture more than a little small one. Right. But then again, you just need something for it to, well, you don't have to. You could do like Papa did and let it fall over and grow along the ground if you wanted to. What we did when we did them in the grow bags, and the one in front of the greenhouse there, and we didn't do that this year. We're not going to plant tomatoes there anymore, just because it gets to be such a jungle. But Matt did kind of the Florida weave. He actually made it, though, with wire, like an enclosure with wire, and that way it helped them. And then we just left it there, and they grew up in it. But the other ones we just put near one of the cattle panels, like at the end of it, and then Matt could just tie the tomato to the cattle panel, and that worked okay. This time of the year when the garden's all fresh and new and everything's just, spaced out perfectly like you want it, it looks so pristine and beautiful. But by the end of the year, it's a jungle. Yeah. It's just all a jungle, and
it's all fell over and growing out in the yard, and you got to lift it up to mow under it. And
yeah. But for now, that's it. And I do think it's good this year that we kind of backed up a little bit on the tomatoes. Matt wanted us to do that, and I think that's good.
It's still plenty.
It's still plenty, yeah. We have, I think I can't tell from here if that's 2 or 3 little ones left. One was the bumblebee, because I only had one of those. And I think maybe there's just 2 over there, and a Juliet. And we'll put those up in probably that raised bed that's up on the bank that has the cattle panel. We've not put anything in those raised beds because we want to add dirt to them and some compost, and we hadn't got that done. But we will eventually. I saved back the smallest tomatoes, hoping that would maybe give us another few days if we get to do that this week. And then all those others we'll take to Corey and Granny. It'll be nice this time of the year, even before now. I get tired of watering the stuff in the greenhouse because you have to water it every day by the time once it gets hot like this, because it just dries out. So that's a chore marked off.
Yeah, we can turn that off and quit that.
Yeah. We will have to, all these that we've planted, we'll water them this evening before we go to bed. You can hear Corey and Katie, they're yelling back and forth at each other. Katie's on the porch and Corey's at her house. Yelling at each other. Anyway, I forgot, what was I saying? Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, that we'd water them. We'll water them this evening, and once the sun goes down, and then we'll water them, for a day or 2, maybe 3 or 4 days, depending on if we get rain, and then we won't water them anymore. Usually we water maybe every other day until it rains, and then after it rains, we just say good luck. You're on your own.
It's supposed to be fairly dry the next couple of days, and then start getting more rain chances toward the weekend.
So we'll probably do that.
Yeah.
And when we do water them, we just hand water. We just hand water.
Yeah, I've been going to put a lawn hydrant up here. That's another project that I've just not got to, but I will. That way we could water from up here instead of having to carry it.
Yeah, even if you're still hand watering, at least the hose is right here and you don't have to walk all the way back down. Which last year we did get a really super long hose and a divider and brought it up here, remember?
Yeah.
That helped some.
Yeah, that hose and spigot and all that's down here at your other daughter's house.
Oh, my daughter's got it.
I've got it hooked up to their spigot because their spigot leaks all the time, and the only way to stop it is put a hose on it with a nozzle to stop it.
Oh, okay.
Until I can get it cut out and get it replaced.
Okay. Another thing on your list.
Yeah, I've got more to do and I can get done.
I know. Well, I'm just glad
And
we
ain't
got
none of it includes fishing.
No, I know, poor Matt. You've got to sneak off and just go.
When?
I don't know, in the middle of the night. And do some night fishing.
The good fishing really is about over. The lake fishing is over here for the year, pretty much. So I can do a little trout fishing maybe, but I still ain't got time for that.
Maybe you and Austin can sneak off and go trout fishing.
Maybe.
I hope so. I'm glad, though, to have the tomatoes and the peppers. That's one thing off your list that was really pushing on you because they were getting bigger and bigger in that greenhouse. They were all root bound.
And they're a little later than we'd like to have planted them 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And we got the okra planted. And did you notice? Oh, did you notice? Now look, I've dropped a popsicle down my shirt, but did you notice? I've got my shirt on.
How come I ain't got none of them shirts?
I thought I bought you some. You sure they just ain't in your drawer and you hadn't noticed them or something?
No, they're not in there.
Okay, well, I need to
I keep seeing y'all wearing all these new shirts above your stuff, and I ain't never had one yet.
I'm sorry. I will rectify that.
You must not want me advertising your stuff.
No.
You must think that I'll, kind of hurt your viewership, maybe.
Rep. My street cred.
Street cred, yeah.
I couldn't do it without you.
Oh, yeah, you
Anyway, it was appropriate for me to wear my okra one while we planted the okra.
Yep, that's
What
right.
you think? Well, I think me and Matt are going to go in and maybe get something to eat and see what else we can do on our list today. We're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia. And we hope that you'll keep dropping back by because you got to see Matt eat that first tomato sandwich.
Yeah, won't be long.